Hello everyone, welcome back to Solasta Crown of the Magister, and to our party that has just defeated what I think is by playtime the longest fight I've ever had. But we are alive, and that's what matters. Gothic is currently sleeping. He needs to do that for an hour until he will have 1 HP. So just while all of that stuff carries on, I'm thinking about picking up what has been left around the battlefield. We got cash, we got gems, we got supplies. I'm hesitant to even go too far in before we've rested. So in fact, let's just take a short rest immediately and hope that we're not suddenly interrupted, which is not something I've seen happen ever, but you know, it would be in this moment where we're at our weakest that it would. And let's roll hit die. We should roll hit die. You got your Channel Divinity back. We can Arcane Recovery for a first level spell slot. And the party is back up. And as mentioned last time, we now have enough XP to get to level 3, but to do that we must long rest. And so if we just take a tiny moment to come round and collect some more of these supplies. I think Kite's going to be athletic enough to not get into any problems here. 10 corrosive arrows, 1d6 acid damage, I presume. Then there's this up here. As long as we don't breach any more of these shadows, I'll feel more comfortable. And 10 more corrosive arrows. Then the last thing is there's a couple of pots on this side, so if we could safely bring Kite back. I think the MVP of that last fight was Gothic thunder waving one of them off a cliff. That was incredibly important. How do we get over here? Do I just tell my hero to be there and they'll do it? How do I not remember how to do this? You don't have to go all the way to the floor, do you? Alright, well I'm not going to worry about it too much for right now then. Let's get everybody back. And I'm going to hope that we are able to go back and long rest once more before progressing. Because even if we have to sit here for a full day to do it, it's worth it to not die. Is my opinion on the matter. When we only have one one save slot, every moment is precious. Right, there are no more Sorax over here. And so now we can level up. I hope. I've never seen camping at a campsite like this be interrupted before, only out on the road. But if there were patrols of Sorax just around the place, who knows what could happen. But we're going to sit around quietly for 15 hours. I should see if there was anything that we could be crafting during this time, but never mind. We'll worry about that when we get back out on the open road. I don't think I have the supplies for it right now anyway. And let's be leveling up. We are now 27 HP, additional hit die, and we select a roguish archetype. Here is our roguish archetype selection. So we can have Thief. Cunning action allows you to use the object interaction. So we could use that for things like applying poisons or healing our friends. Climbing no longer costs you extra movement. And at level 9 you have advantage on dex stealth checks. The Dark Weaver, spider climbing, predator. When hitting an enemy on lower ground, you add proficiency bonus to damage. And when you hit with a melee weapon at deal 1 point of damage, your target must make a con save DC 13 or they will be poisoned for 1 hour and take an additional 2d6. Now, I considered doing this subclass, but I think the real problems are the DC 13 here, by the time that we're level 9, with all the enemies having +3 to their saves anyway, I don't think this is really ever going to impact our foes at such a higher rate that it's going to be beneficial to us. So we are going to go Shadowcaster again. We gain Wizard Spellcasting from a few schools of magic. We can bonus action teleport to a cell we can see within 5... a cell we can see within 5 cells. And then later, if we're targeted by a damaging spell, whether it hits us or not, we can cast a cantrip in reaction. So we will take Shadowcaster. And what do we want from this? We already have Firebolt as a racial feature. Lower a target's AC and prevents its reactions until the start of its next turn. Cannot take reactions and has -2 armor class penalty. Hold on. Something like annoying... no, something like... Color Spray. Inflicts blinded, cannot see anything, disadvantage on attacks, attacks have advantage against the creature. It doesn't say enemy has a chance to save, which is what I was expecting to see. Which has me confused, because if Dazzle doesn't have a save against it and it just works, that could be really useful. But I'm assuming that the foe must have some kind of save against it. But hey, let's try it. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? Disadvantage on concentration checks until the next turn. Why not take that as well? Increase your chance to hit a target you can see 1 time. Caster has advantage on his first attack against the spell's target. Now this could be incredible as a rogue rather than having to hide. And our other options of gaining temporary hit points, casting Shadow Dagger, which is a wisdom saving throw. Let's take True Strike. I'm not sure if these are going to be beneficial or if I've just doomed myself, but hey, I definitely want Shield. We don't need Identify, Comprehend Language, or Detect Magic. So we don't want Mage Armor either, because we'd have to not be wearing armor to benefit. So we'll take False Life, and we need to pick 1 more. Why not Color Spray? Then let's do Pastel. We gain another 1st level spell slot and 2 2nd level spell slots, which is wonderful. And when we prepare spells now, we can prepare from the 2nd level spell list. So let's see, what we don't want here is much. Shield of Faith we're less likely to use. We certainly want Spiritual Weapon. We've got Scorching Ray and Dark Vision already. Prayer of Healing could be useful if we're unable to get in hit die or long rests, but I don't think we need it right now. Of course, we can change these every time we long rest, so it's not so damning. Let's get rid of Cure Wounds because we have Healing Word. Anything else we really want? Apparently Calm Emotions is a little bit busted. I've never used this spell before, but it stops 1 or more creatures from being charmed. Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. Calm Enemy. Makes enemies indifferent to you and your allies unless they are wounded. So this means you can kind of slow down the pace of a fight by stopping certain foes from considering you as a threat, and then you can go through and pick people off 1 by 1, which sounds incredible. Kite. We get a Sacred Oath, and we get a 1st level spell slot, and we can use our Channel Divinity. As for which oath we pick, Oath of Devotion, we get these spells. Channel Divinity to bless one weapon for 1 minute. You add your Charisma modifier to hit with that weapon, minimum +1. The weapon also emits bright light over 4 cells and dim light over 4 more cells. Its attacks count as magical, and we can turn undead. Then at level 7, friendly creatures in the aura cannot be charmed while you are conscious. So to add our Charisma modifier to weapon attacks is incredible, because then we would be doing +5, +3, plus proficiency to hit. And then turn undead is standard. This is also really good because Sacred Weapon, not only does it come back on a short rest, which we can take off as many as we want, even if it's just to get the Sacred Weapon back, it also would mean that there would be a light source for creatures that are sensitive to light. Oath of the Motherland is what we took last time. This has Fireball among its spells. And then Fiery Wrath, Channel Divinity to one target you can see within 12 cells. They take 2d6 plus Paladin level fire damage and sets the target on fire. Can make a DC 10 Dex check to put out the fire or sustain 1d6 more fire per turn. And Channel Divinity Fiery Presence. Oh, so turn the Unholy. Channel Divinity to force fiends and undead within 6 cells to flee is standard for clerics, but I guess not standard for paladins. Instead here you get Fiery Presence. Channel Divinity to blind opponents within 12 cells who fail a dex save. Creatures with dark vision or better sight in darkness have disadvantage. Blindness lasts 1d4 turns. Friendly creatures at level 7 in the aura are fire resistant and get +1 to AC. Then the Oath of Tiamat. Sleep, shield, hold person, blindness. Daylight is incredibly good and slow. Channel Divinity, advantage on persuasion checks seems not great, because when are you really going to know that you're doing a persuasion check in any particular conversation? Channel Divinity, deal 1d6 additional radiant damage on attacks to hit opponents with either natural shapeshifting or dark vision 2d6 if both. Lasts for 1 minute. And friendly creatures in the aura gain superior dark vision and +2 perception later on. So I'm at a bit of a toss-up what to pick, because I think this is really good for emitting light. Fireball is really good just in general, although Gothic will of course be able to cast it. Having Revivify as a memorized spell could also be very beneficial to us moving forward, and having the shield spell in a pinch could also help, although we don't have that many spell slots to spend as a paladin, especially if we want to smite stuff as well. Last time we were Motherland, and it went reasonably well. But let's go Devotion. We could use the Sacred Weapon. Adding our Charisma is going to be great. Emitting Light is going to be good. And not being Charmed, I'm not sure how beneficial that will be, but is this what we're going to take? I'm torn, I'm torn, I'm torn. I think this is out. This just isn't good enough for what it is. Alright, I'm going to ponder for a moment. Alright, I've flip-flopped for ages, and I think rather than going with this and the light source, we have more light cantrips this time round. And rather than doing Oath of the Motherland, where the Channel Divinities do damage once and only once, even as good as Fireball is in the very late game, Oath of Tiamat, Channel Divinity deals 1d6 additional damage or radiant damage on attacks with opponents with natural shapeshifting or dark vision, 2d6 if both. That's going to be like most of the enemies that we're going to see. And this Channel Divinity, whilst not going to be the easiest thing to remember to use, can be used outside of combat. And so we can just rest as much as we want while combat's not a threat to us. And then superior dark vision and perception. I'm not sure how that will impact us later on, but that's what I'm going to go for. We also get shield, sleep, hold person, and slow and daylight, so reasonable smells as well. And then lastly, we have Gothic. We're up to 26 HP, a first level spell slot, and 2 second level spell slots. Now we have to pick 2 spells to add to our spell book. So this is not spells to prepare for today, but spells that we will have the ability to cast moving forward. So I think Shatter is good AoE, although really we have Thunderwave and Burning Hands for AoE as well. So what else could we do? Flaming Sphere summons a movable burning sphere you control for 2d6 damage for 1 minute, so long as we remain concentrating on it, doing 2d6 fire damage with an attack. Maybe that's what we need if we want to do more damage over time to more enemies. Although, for a large part, cantrips can do that, although I guess if you're concentrating on the Flaming Sphere, it gets to do something, and then you still get to take an action that turn. Knock we can worry about later. Invisibility I'll worry about when we can get greater invisibility. Otherwise, I'm not sure what we really badly want here. I'm thinking about Hold Person, because as we level up and as our proficiency increases, our save should be reasonably difficult to get past. And Hold Person, especially for tough individual creatures, could be a boon, although we could probably just take Hold Person at level 4 when it's going to be more pertinent. I hate these decisions. Of course, we can add scrolls to our spellbook as we find them. Then it's just a case of finding those spell scrolls first. I've changed my mind. I'm not going to take Shatter. I'm going to take Scorching Ray, because it's cast at effectively 1 higher level of spell slot for us. So it'll be 4 beams instead of 3, and targeting 4 creatures, it seems better than trying to shatter an AoE, or we can put all 4 into 1 creature. So let's go with Scorching Ray and Hold Person, and I'll see how much I hate myself later. And then do we want to change any of what we have prepared? That'll do. I might regret my fog cloud decision. But here we are. We are healed once again. We are relatively, for a moment, safe. I think with Faith's new ability, we might be able to teleport over to get these supplies. So we'll do that, and then we will call that our session here. Because, oh boy, yesterday's session was way, way, way too long. I wonder if any of you caught the entirety of it, if you were there riding the tension with me. So this thing will spin around again. Luckily, Delat not falling off the sides. Then Faith, can you shadow dodge to the other side? You could not. It says there is no path to our destination. Can I do something daft? Like, does this work? Nope. How are we going to get over there? Kite, can you make this jump? No? Faith? Is that too many tiles for you to teleport across directly? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, there we go. Faith, doing it for the team. Don't kill anyone with this. Thank you. I'm not even sure how deep your pockets are anymore, Faith. But we will take Oil of Acuteness, a Thieves' Tools, and a crossbow. And then stepping back over here, if we push this rock along slightly to let ourselves get a little bit higher, we can get what's in this one as well. And then awkwardly, we're going to have to wait 1 hour before Faith can teleport back across again. But that's the price you pay for loot. Sapphire, primed short sword, torch, and remarkable arrows. Something for Gothic to spend his time identifying, I'm sure. Oh no, we don't have to teleport back over. We pushed a bridge, of course. Right, let's get the whole party then. And sure, we'll do this little bit of admin here at the end. Gothic, if you could ritual cast detect magic for me. 10 swift minutes. And then ritual cast identify. What do we have here? At the very least, those arrows, I think. Probably just +1 arrows. But I'll be grateful for them if that's what they are. Anybody else holding out magic stuff that we don't know about yet? Probably not. Nope, everything pretty much accounted for. Grateful for the extra supplies we brought along. But with the party all together, healthy, conscious, sneaking. Join me next time where we will try and get out of this hellhole back onto the road and see if we can't give ourselves a few more supplies and a little bit more of a chance of surviving our future. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you're enjoying the series, please do consider subscribing or hitting that like button. If you have any questions or comments or pieces of advice, you can put them down in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.